In order for this fence project to get underway, we're gonna have to move all this stuff out of here, back about 3 feet, and re-secure the dog kennel so the dog can't get out.
Oh, that'll work. Whoa! Okay.
It's been a long time since this fence has been here. 6 years. This is called leverage. Okay, so I've got a couple ratchet straps here, one on this end, one on that end, holding this fence up temporarily while we get the outside fence completed. So now that we got the dog kennel secured, we can focus our energy on removing these fence posts. For some reason, the previous homeowner found it necessary to put a bag of concrete in each one of his 4-foot fence posts. And it's going to make it very painful to remove. I already cut off 3 and left them, but in this situation, I feel like I have to remove them, and I'm just going to reuse that hole for my 4x4 posts. I was told about this method from a friend of mine, Ty, where you dig a hole behind the post, and then you pull the post back into it. So I've already done one like that, and it works pretty good. For a more in-depth look at removing these cemented fence posts, click on the link. Now the reason you use gravel and sand in and around your posts is so that it has proper drainage, and therefore water won't sit at the bottom of your fence posts and rot it over time. Before your final tamping, you want to make sure your fence post is straight and level. I don't like using your traditional fence brackets, those little metal things that hold the fence post on edge, or a 2x4 on edge. I much prefer building a wall like in a house and attaching my fence boards to that. It just makes it way stronger. This here is a big reason why I do the wall method rather than the metal brackets. Board starts twisting and it stands no chance. When you put the screw in to mount the bracket, you can't get the 2x4 to flush up against the 4x4. Here you can see my father has tried using one of my paintings to fix my fence, or my brother's fence, when the 4x4 twisted. Now the bracket is on the other side. I left a gap here for my garden gate bracket. It might look a little weird, but it shouldn't affect the overall performance of the fence. 110 and 7/8, perfect. So to make this project unique, I bought a lift of rough stock lumber to use as fence boards. For me to be able to clear coat these next year, I have to make them smooth. So I'm going to plane every one of these boards. Yes, I should have a 12-inch planer. Ed won't let me borrow his. So I'm using this little 4-inch. It's painful, but we get the job done. This time I got lucky when I bought the lift. This one came with a whole bunch of flat-sided ones. The ones up there were all had to be ripped down on each edge. That was a lot of work. So I got all my pieces planed. Now I'm just gonna match up this corner edge to the top of the fence post over and then come down a little bit. Kind of eyeballing it so it gets a little more of an organic feel to it. Got the piece cut, now it's ready to install. Some of these boards have bark on one side. I've been putting that on the inside so it looks more like a cabin feel on the inside. My top of my fence level. Alright, that's how I build a fence panel. Now I just gotta do it 6 more times. Check it out. My neighbor's garage was put so that half of his eaves is hanging over my fence line. And in this spot, it's actually touching my fence. But as you can see, it's not a very nice garage. Quick estimate on time per 10-foot panel, at least 2.5 to 3 hours long. That's 4x4 into the ground, then tamped, cut and put up 2x4 wall, plain 13 to 15 rough stock boards, trim to fit. Planing is definitely the most time consuming, but it results in a lot of character. Things that didn't turn out so good, this 4x4. They're always going to be a little looser than a 6x6, but this much movement is unacceptable. We got an old bag of cement to fix that. The neighbor's garage is overhanging my yard. I had to cut the fence around it. To a less laid back person, this might really bother you, but to me, I think it's kind of funny. I don't expect his roof to last much longer anyway. But trying to remove this fence post, which had cement all the way to the bottom of the hole, was probably the most difficult part of the build. The dry conditions of the ground around it also had a huge influence to the difficulty level. Lots of water goes a long way. If Mother Nature doesn't help you, you'll have to use the water hose. Parts of the build that turned out great, but I already knew they would, are things like the 6x6s and the plain planks. The 6x6s look more intense and tamp in way better. Do yourselves a favor, go with 6x6 posts. It's probably cheaper than going with a 4x4 and a bag of cement. Stay away from metal brackets and build your wall out of 2x4s. I'm stoked on the big knots in this pine. I love being in the forest, so I left as much bark on as I could. In my eyes, this fence is gorgeous and has already transformed the feel of our yard. I can't wait to add on to more of this and weigh in on the results. I'm replacing this whole main gate, and I'm going to take up this entire space right up to the eaves, maybe even up to that one. I'll install a trick latch, a couple sculptures, and hopefully elements of water when it rains. Something similar will be built here in order to keep the dog from using the entire yard as a toilet. I need to do some tinkering. These gaps need to be filled. As I mentioned, this hole needs to be filled with cement. And I need to put a board here, but it might be a really good opportunity to add some more character. And this gate needs to be trimmed. So stay tuned. Watch the fence tour link provided. Leave your comments, subscribe, because I love the feedback, and I have lots more projects planned for the summer and beyond. So thanks again for watching. And this is how you beat the heat. And that's a wrap.